This is a massive medieval army, but there's something special about it. This isn't just any old medieval army. This is a collection of every medieval army across the world fighting together. These boys have found a common enemy. Time travelers of the US Army. And their showdown is going to take place on this tiny bridge fortress in Japan. The modern US Army has brought with them soldiers, M1 Abrams, missile systems, Sea Whizzes, and all the usual juicy, beautiful modern technology that they use to time travel in the past. Now, these guys are going to have to hold this bridge fortress. But not only that, we're also going to be taking them on two other bridge fortresses after this battle in order to see which ones of them can they hold against every medieval army. Meaning there will be tens of millions of medieval soldiers dying in this video and thousands of US Army soldiers going down fighting for the future. If you guys enjoy these videos, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below. Now let's get it! What's up, gamers? I'm here to tell you about Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is an amazing place where you can get some fire deals on all sorts of video games. Seriously, it's like 60 to 95% off, as you can see here. These are all of the Star Wars titles they have. They literally have every Star Wars title. You can also get XCOM here, Men of War Assault Squad 2. All of the games I play on the channel you can buy here for extremely cheap prices. If you use my affiliate link in the description, it helps me out a ton. So thank you guys for listening to this sponsorship, and thank you to Instant Gaming for continuing to sponsor the channel. Alrighty then, gamers, pressing start on the first battle here, and we have 17,000 US Army soldiers defending and already firing out with their missile systems and machine guns, and they're fighting against 7 million of every medieval army here. So that means samurai, Saxons, heavy knights, crusader knights. We also have English knights, Mongolians. We have, well, pretty much a representative of every medieval army in Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2 coming forward on this battlefield. Also, this map is from the new map building mod for Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2, or rather, I should probably say update. Not really a mod. There's the Sea Whizzes firing out, by the way. And this map's interesting because it adds like a tinge of saturation to everything. Everything's like a little bit purple. It's odd. It's very odd, but it does look pretty cool. It makes it look like a very mystical land. And now our M1 Abrams here out front are getting full charged by some heavy knights over this way, as well as some Saxons over here, and they're beginning to fight back alongside their US Army soldiers that are standing tall at the Wolf Bridge here, the Furry Bridge. Oh God! Do we really want to defend this land here? In the name of the furries? Okay, well, the defense seems to be going quite wonderfully. They are getting many a kill, and you can actually see very cool Colosseum in the background here. This map is called Hotspots, and the reason it's called Hotspots is they basically set up a multitude of different cool little fighting areas, one being this Colosseum here, where there are medieval archers and catapults currently assembling, and then there's like small temples, there's little fortresses over here, there's a small modern military base defense over this way, and of course the little Japanese bridge that we're currently defending. It's an interesting map, to say the very least, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Here are some French men-at-arms over here, and there are also, I believe, some Roman Praetorian guards. Here's some Celtic warriors over this way. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of different soldiers from the medieval era coming forward to attack. And right now that attack is not going too hot. They have 0 kills against the modern US Army, and they have already lost 265,000 soldiers. That's a lot of losses. That's a lot of L's. They're not doing too hot already on this here battlefield. It does help that the M1A2 Abrams are protecting quite nicely against these guys and helping out the riflemen behind them. These guys having that tank armor in front of them is going to prevent them from taking a lot of losses here. But They've also got heavy machine gunners back here with M249s that are going to be extremely helpful in this defense. And then, of course, we've got the ghillie suit snipers back again. It's been a while since we've used these guys, but they're back on the battlefield on this hilltop, along with the missile systems firing away. So a lot of very good backup cover fire on this map. And this is the only entrance point for this bridge. As you can see, the river completely surrounds it. And I don't think body piles can impact this river because I'm pretty sure it's like fairly deep. I'm not entirely sure, but you can't really see the bottom, so I don't think body piles can be built here, but could be wrong. Maybe we'll be corrected in that statement as we go on here. Either way, cresting into 500,000 kills for the defenders now. That is honestly absurd how quickly they are getting kills against these medieval units. I mean, that is insanity. And 0 kills for the medieval units as it stands right now. Absolutely nuts. The other bridge maps we're going to be using will be very different. This is a very small and concise bridge map, but some of the other ones will have multiple bridges, and some will just be very large bridges instead of this very small bridge fortress that we're doing here. So it'll get pretty crazy as this video goes on, but why don't we go ahead and do a nice overhead time lapse here and watch as these guys death charge in. 600,000 dead medieval soldiers at this point in time, 0 dead US Army soldiers. Insane. Okay, it's been 15 minutes here, and the number of US Army soldiers has gone up, or gone down rather, considerably. 500 men have been killed on the battlefield. M1s are being pushed onto the bridge itself, and they're not doing as hot as before, I will say. And we got catapults just spamming out fire from over here, so that's definitely a bit of a yikes. They're not in range, I think, of the missile systems, which is very good, so those can continue to fire at the bridge choke point as the enemies come forward. They've also killed over 2 million enemy troops at this point, so they're doing well in that regard, but the catapults are certainly starting to dig into some of the US Army soldiers over this way, getting kills, tossing a bunch of them into the river here, which is not good. And looks like Abrams might sink into the depths below at some point here. However, overall, US is still doing quite well. It especially helps that these Sea Whizzes are continuing to just pour out fire, and they are firing over this way, so they're probably getting at least a few kills on these catapults as they go. We've got some samurai coming in here, some English men-at-arms coming in, there's the French, there's some medieval archers, there's the catapults. Oh, it's just a whole collection of medieval troops. So things are getting a little bit worse for the defending US Army here, but it is not a catastrophe just yet. They've got a lot of potential to continue to get some crazy kills here. Why don't we go ahead and watch, zoomed in here on the interior of this tunnel bridge, and I think that'll look pretty cool with the enemies charging forward. And these guys cannot get hit by catapults because they're protected by the cover of the bridge, so that's actually really nice. Although a catapult did just fire through the little hole there, so that's terrifying, but hopefully that doesn't happen very often. Hopefully. We'll see, dude. Almost 2 million dead medieval soldiers, almost 1,000 dead US Army soldiers. Alright, so things are progressing and the bridge is just about dead here, but the outside choke point could still potentially be very good, especially with these guys up here, untouched by catapults and the likes of that. And CWIS is still firing extremely well here, so that's very good. But the exterior of the bridge is pretty much dead. 4,500 U.S. Army soldiers have lost their lives here, and 2.76 million medieval units. But it's actually more than that. It's probably like 3.5 or so million have died, and the reason being is explosive damage doesn't always count as a kill, so that's why there might be some number discrepancies. But the medieval archers are up here now, firing away, a little bow and arrow action, while the rest of the soldiers have to just yeet themselves into the lines, which is absolutely insane. I would be trembling. And the catapults still come forward all over the place, but they are dying a little bit more now as they get closer, and a lot more of these missile systems are firing at them, and the sea whizzes, so that's quite good. That's quite good. Why don't we get a little bit more of a close-up of the upcoming choke point here? I think this will look pretty sick. 4 million remaining medieval soldiers and 10,500 remaining U.S. Army soldiers. Let's get it. Alright, boys, we're still in the thick of things here. There's 4 million dead medieval army soldiers, and there are 11,551 dead modern soldiers. Now, the snipers and the missile systems are still alive up here. Everyone else has perished. But they're actually holding pretty nicely, and they're not really susceptible to much shooting, so this could be good for them. Alright, it's been another 20 minutes here, and I think we've entered a holding pattern. Some random Celtic and Saxon warriors are getting forward over this way, and we do have some Templar knights on the battlefield coming forward, and some British spearmen. Very nice. But right now the catapults and the archers aren't really firing as much as they were previously. This little hill defense is certainly helping with that quite a bit. Only 2.5 million medieval units remain, and 2,930 U.S. Army soldiers remain. So I'm just going to let this run for a bit here, because I think we're in a holding pattern. If anything exciting happens, I'll start it up again, but we have a lot of battles to go through today, so I don't want to use up all of our time-lapse space. So I'll see you in just a second. Alright, boys, it's been another 20 minutes, and we are down to 1.6 million remaining medieval army soldiers here, and 2,874 U.S. Army troopers. So just wanted to give a quick update. They are indeed in a very nice holding pattern here. Catapults are still coming forward, but they seem to be dying due to missile launches from miles away, striking them before they can get any of their catapult launches off. So it seems like right now this will be a U.S. victory. Let's go ahead and let it continue to run before we get into our next battles. Okay, another half an hour or so later, actually, they're starting to break through a little bit. We've got folks just swarming everywhere. This is no longer going super well. Uh-oh, okay. Wow, just in the blink of an eye, all things have changed. Got Romans and Templar Knights out here, and some Samurai, and still just good variety of units, but they're actually getting up here and attacking some of these missile systems a little bit more, which is definitely intimidating. So, why don't we time-lapse this, because all of the sudden, things are going poorly. Okay, so we're pretty much at the end here. Apparently there's 6 US soldiers left alive. Oh, it's these, and they're stuck in the wall, so the medieval armies can't really get to them. But there's still 260,000 medieval units, so medieval armies did actually come relatively close to losing this, but the US at the end of the day is going to be the victor here. These units are glitching, obviously, so this is a medieval victory. These guys will eventually either fall or whatever, but it'll take hours for that to happen. So medieval victory for battle number 1. Let's get to the second map. This will likely be... oh, they spawned in the water. This will likely be the hardest of the bridge defenses for the defenders. This time around, decided to reverse the structure of the armies here. So we have the catapults in the front. The archers should also be somewhere in the front here. We've also got Mongolians and Celtic warriors and stuff like that in the front. And the defenders are going to have a tough time because this bridge is rather small, but there's multiple other bridges around it where the enemy can flank. So they do have soldiers on the flanks ready to defend against that, and of course they still have their Abrams up front, though many of them are in the water, and their Sea Whizzes and missile systems. Oh, these big red oak trees propel you up a little bit. So yeah, this is going to be a tougher one of the battles. They do have a bit more of a consolidated defense here, and a few more soldiers. They've got 50,000 troops against the 7.5 million that are attacking them. However, the flanks being opened up in this map is going to make things a little bit more tricky. But I wanted to do the weakest of kind of all of these maps this time around, because the next time is probably going to be the strongest of all of the maps that we do for the final bridge. So I wanted to do the weakest just to see what happened and then do the strongest next, because obviously, you know, that's the order of operations here, baby. So that's what we're doing now. Right now, we already have 86,000 kills against the enemy, which is quite fantastic, if I were to say so myself. But 880 US Army soldiers have already died, and that's because we got catapults even coming in the flank over here. Catapults over here spamming fire outward, and just overall lots more projectiles hitting the US Army this time. So this bridge is definitely going to be a toughie for them. Why don't we just go ahead and time-lapse, because I think it will not be the longest of the battles, because I think the US will not manage to hold out for very long. But hey, we've been proven wrong in the past. Maybe we will this time too. Let's get it. Alright, I mean, they did okay during this battle. They're still in this technically, but the bridge is now getting completely flooded, and they're backed up to here where they're just not doing so hot. So I don't expect them to last much longer. 18,000 U.S. Army soldiers do remain, do remain, and 5.5 million enemies currently remain. But yeah, I kind of think they're probably going to be gonzo fairly soon, but we'll keep watching. Alright, yeah, pretty much everyone died. Apparently there's one remaining U.S. Army soldier left alive, but he's, I think, glitched into this tree because that's where they're all spamming fire. They did get 2 million kills on the enemies, which is pretty great, all things considered, but let's now go to the strongest fortress, Bridge. That's right, baby, we're back on the Volcano Bridge Fortress, except this time around, we ain't partaken in the fortress part at all. It's purely going to be the bridge. And this bridge was exceptionally deadly when we ran this earlier with every World War II army. And now with the modern army, it could be even deadlier. So let's see if the modern US Army can finally get a W under their fingers here in this brutal series of bridge combat battles that we've been doing today. So, yet again, it is the same U.S. Army lineup here because I wanted to keep it consistent, except this time with 35,000 modern U.S. Army soldiers. So, slightly less than last time, but still just as deadly. We got the ghillie suit snipers in the way back here, machine gunners at the end of the choke point here, as well as, of course, our missile systems, which are capable of firing wicked far out here, all the way out this way, and the Sea Whizzes also getting some real nice shots out there. Now the medieval armies, once again, same lineup as before, randomized their order of soldiers out here, so right now it looks like we're getting Mongolians, Celtic soldiers, that's kind of it. That's all I'm seeing right now. More to come though. There's the catapults back this way. I mean, there are still 7 million of these boys coming forward, so there will be a lot more factions approaching. Everything you saw in the last few battles will be coming forward yet again this time around. Now, we do have 0 kills for the medieval army, just like that first battle we did, starting off with a triumphant display from the modern U.S. Army and the medieval army not being able to get all that much done. And I'm also seeing a lot of that Sea Whiz and missile fire hitting way in the far back, which is actually really good because that's going to be impacting all of these catapults back here. You can see they're slowly getting destroyed bit by bit or just hit by tons and tons of fire. So right now, actually going really, really well for the modern U.S. Army soldiers because they're eliminating their #1 challenger in those catapults. Now, a couple are starting to get up here, so maybe they will get some good stone throws out as they approach the modern U.S. lines. But still, it's barely any of them, and look at that, they are dying before they reach that front line. So this is really working out wonderfully for the modern U.S. Army right now. M1A2 Abrams, I mean, they're getting close to them, but still, you gotta remember, these have what, 20k? Yeah, 20,000 health apiece, so they're going to be real tough nuts to crack, because even if a soldier gets up there, they'll probably only do 20 or 30 damage per swing, so you gotta kind of multiply that. So, yes, this is definitely the best of the defenses. Oh, we're starting to see arrow fire coming in, though. Look at that. Most of it is deflecting off of the tank armor, but some of it is dealing a little bit of damage. And modern US soldiers also have quite a bit of armor to them, so a lot of those arrows will likely boink off of them as well. However, even if just a few come through, if there are 1 million archers or whatever coming forward, eventually some damage will be done. And there is some catapults. The catapults finally realize they kind of have to come in at a bit of an angle here to manage to get some strikes against the U.S. Army, and that is exactly what they are doing. And they're getting some hits in. Still 0 kills so far for the medieval army, but I think this volley might result in a couple kills. No, not yet. The catapults, I mean, they disrupt quite a bit. There we go. 1 kill for the catapults now. 1! They do disrupt quite a bit. Oh, this is the only guy to die on the battlefield. That's kind of funny. Oh, huge explosion striking out that way. Very nice. But it does take a few catapult shots to actually kill a modern U.S. Army soldier out here. We're already at 300,000 kills for the U.S. Army and a mere 3 kills for the attackers. Why don't we go ahead and watch this choke point defense here and see if the modern U.S. Army can keep this up. Alright, it's been 15 minutes and we're already down to 6 million remaining medieval soldiers, meaning 1 million have died at this point. Now also 675 U.S. Army soldiers have died. It looks like a few of these tanks are also dead at this point, probably from the catapults and the archer fire, but all in all, the U.S. Army is doing quite well for themselves so far. They're holding their own, they're managing to beat the ever-living snot out of these enemies, and they're not even on the bridge yet. As long as these Sea Whizzes are still firing up and we still have the ghillie suit snipers firing and the missile systems, this could easily be a victory. Just very easy slam doinkaroony. But it is going to require continuing effort from these fellas. So why don't we watch close up a little bit this time. Okay, the front of the bridge is now dead. I don't think there's a single Abrams still alive. But the bridge itself is still very much alive, which is great. And the Sea Whizzes are still firing, and we've got plenty of additional U.S. Army soldiers. Problem is, their kill count will go a little bit lower because now there's a massive body pile right here blocking most of the fire from going up and over into the large swaths of soldiers. A little bit of missile fire is going through, but a lot of the bullet fire is just going to shoot harmlessly overhead now. So slightly less kills coming from the U.S. Army. They've still got 30,000 soldiers left alive. They've only lost about 5K. And there are 5.5 million medieval army soldiers left. So they're still doing pretty well, I will say. I'm going to go ahead and just let this ride for a bit, but I'll be back in just a second. Alright boys, it's been another 20 minutes. I was just reporting a little bit of a Lego intro for Daily Bricks. That's why I didn't time-lapse that particular part. I just needed the computer for a second, and you can't do anything when you're time-lapsing on the computer, obviously. Yeah. So we still have 5.3 million medieval soldiers left alive, 29,397 modern military soldiers left alive as well. Why don't we go ahead and watch an overhead from the medieval POV and watch this body pile grow and the amount of fire coming from the modern U.S. Army, just absolutely obliterating this huge medieval army. This is going crazy. Let's keep her going, baby. Oh yeah, look at that. The body pile building up, baby. Ah! I just clipped through the bridge. What the heck, dude? Insanity! Yeah, so we are at 4.8 million remaining U.S. Army soldiers and 28,900... Wait. Reverse that. 4.8 million remaining medieval army soldiers and 289,000... What? Oh my god, why can't I read numbers today, brother? 4.8 million medieval soldiers, 28,900 U.S. Army troopers left alive. My gubernatorial. God, I'm sorry that took me so long to get out. Like, geez, that was kind of sad and pathetic. But yes, that is the accurate number. Let's do a nice close-up time lapse here to watch. Alright boys, another half an hour later, and look at this. It's just a massive blockade now betwixt these two mountains. Like a turd coming from a butt cheek. Okay, that was out of pocket. Okay. We have got ourselves a full-on defensive hold here. I mean, these guys are clapping cheeks and taking names. 28,700 U.S. Army soldiers left alive. 4.2 million medieval soldiers left alive. So medieval soldiers have lost over 3 million, I believe now. Absolutely bonkers. They keep coming forward, though. And this body pile will continue to rise. I'm just going to go ahead and let it run for a while because I think we have a couple more hours of this battle left. And we're starting to run out of storage space. So I'll see you in just a second. Alright boys, it's been another hour and a half, and the medieval soldiers are down bad. They have 2.1 million soldiers remaining, and there's still 28,659 modern U.S. Army soldiers. So, throughout this period of time, the body pile has grown and grown, and look at that, it's like sloping like a ski slope now, too. That is insane, dude. Wow. Why do we keep clipping into the lava? That's so weird. They're just dying. They're not even getting kills, like, at all. The modern U.S. Army is completely dominating the bridge defense. Yeah, this is pretty crazy. Why don't we do another time lapse here? But I think this should be finally a U.S. Army victory against all medieval armies. Alright, we're still going here, and 28,000 U.S. Army soldiers still remain. They've lost barely any, and probably the few they did lose since the last time we checked in were from arrows, but I don't even really see any arrows. I'm trying to look, but yeah, I don't really see any arrows flying, and 1.8 million medieval soldiers remain. So this is just complete and utter domination at this point. Let's go ahead and just let it run. Right, boys, another 2 hours have passed now, and we are at 716,000 remaining boyos here. And it's mainly Praetorian guards from the Roman army and some Saxons and Celtic men and things along those lines. But for the most part, they're not doing like any damage. I think there's a few archers getting some kills. I mean, it's been 2 hours and they've only gotten like 1,000 more kills or something like that against the U.S. Army soldiers. And that, yeah, was probably just due to a few straggling archers. Well, actually, there's a few guys who managed to, like, glitch their way down and get a couple swings, so maybe there's that as well. But, I mean, this battle's over. 27,800 remaining U.S. Army soldiers and 700,000 remaining medieval soldiers. This is a wash. I mean, it's not even close on this bridge. So, I'll go ahead and drop the nuke on these boys just for fun as a last little hurrah, and voila! Mass extinction of the medieval armies. Well, and some U.S. Army soldiers because we accidentally killed a few of them too. But either way, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below. I'll see you on the next one. Peace! I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be sure to click that subscribe button for more content, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted to whenever I live stream or upload. Thanks so much.